Good morning, Evans. Today's read aloud, we're going to highlight our PBIS pillar of the month in fairness. And it's one of my personal favorites. We have The Invisible Boy, illustrated by Patrice Barton, story by Trudy Ludwig. Can you see Brian, the invisible boy? Even Miss Carlotti has trouble noticing him in her classroom. She's too busy dealing with Nathan and Sophie. Now, does this seem fair to you? The teacher's attention always being taken up by two students? Nathan has problems with what Mrs. Carlotti calls volume control. He uses his outside voice inside too much. Sophie whines and complains when she doesn't get her way. Nathan and Sophie take up a lot of space. Brian doesn't. When the bell rings for recess, Micah and JT take turns choosing kids for their kickball teams. The best players get picked first, then the best friends of the best players, then the friends of the best friends. Only Brian is left, still waiting and still hoping. Notice how he's invisible. He doesn't have colors yet. JT glances in Brian's direction and just as quickly looks away. We've got enough players for each team, he tells the others. Let's play ball. Now, leaving Brian out, excluding him, does that seem fair to you? There he is walking away. In the cafeteria, Madison and her friends talk about her birthday party. The rope swing over the pool was awesome, says JT. Yeah, so was the water slide, adds Fiona. That was the best pool party ever. I'm so glad you guys had fun, says Madison. Everybody did except Brian. He wasn't invited. At choosing time, while the other kids played board games and read, Brian sits at his table doing what he loves to do best. He draws fire-breathing dragons, scaling tall buildings. Thank you for toasting my marshmallow. Space aliens locked in intergalactic battles. I got you now. Greedy pirates digging for treasure. Crackers, arg, yay. And superheroes with the power to make friends wherever they go. Hi, friend, have a cookie. Now on Monday morning, Mrs. Carlotti introduces Justin, a new student, to the class. Brian smiles shyly at him. Some of the other kids sneak looks at Justin, trying to figure out if he's cool enough to be their friend. They haven't quite made up their minds yet. At lunch, Madison and JT watch Justin eat with chopsticks. What's that? Asks Madison as she points to Justin's food. It's bulgogi. Bull what? They're making kind of weird faces. Bulgogi. It's Korean barbecued beef. My grandma made it for me. It's really good. Do you want to try some? There's no way I'd eat boogergi. And the kids laugh. All of them, that is, except Brian. He sits there wondering which is worse, being laughed at or feeling invisible. Now, does being laughed at for what you and your family eat seem fair? The next day, when Justin goes to his cubby to put away his backpack, he notices the piece of paper with his name on it. Justin, I thought the bulgogi looked good. Brian, yum. At morning recess, Brian finds a piece of chalk on the ground and starts drawing away. You're Brian, right? Yeah. Thanks for the note. One thing I'm noticing on this page as they're having this conversation, Brian is starting to have some colors drawn in because he feels seen maybe. Hey, Justin, Emilio calls from the tetherball court. You're up next. Sorry, I gotta go, says Justin. By the way, that's a really cool drawing, he adds before taking off. how happy Brian is. Back in class, Mrs. Carlotti asks the kids to team up in 2s or 3s for a special project. The kids scurry around the room to pair off. Brian heads toward Justin. I'm already with Justin, says Emilio. Find someone else. Now he's back to being invisible. Brian looks at the floor, wishing he could draw a hole right there to swallow him up. Mrs. Carlotti said that we can have up to 3 people in our group. We're only 2. Come on, Emilio, let him work with us. Okay, I guess. Now, does Justin act fair here? Yeah, he includes Brian. Notice how Brian again is starting to show colors too. Mrs. Carlotti gives the class directions for the project. Your assignment is to work together to write a story about what you see in this photograph. Use your imagination and have fun. That's a picture of buildings. Whoa, cool, says Emilio. What kind of people do you think would live in houses like that? I don't know, but I bet Brian could draw them to go with our story, says Justin. Brian smiles as he takes out his lucky pen. Look how happy he is. Now he's fully drawn in and colored in. Now we have no dialogue here. The kids smiling and drawing, cutting and using art supplies. I love the way Brian sits in the seat here. And now look how much fun they're having. And here they are demonstrating in front of the class. The crooked story we made up on the spot. It's lunchtime again. Brian's least favorite part of the day. Another 20 long minutes of kids talking and laughing with everyone else but him. Brian! He hears someone shout. Hey, Brian, over here! Brian turns and sees Justin waving him over. Emilio nods at Brian as he makes room for him at the table. Cookies? Thanks. Maybe, just maybe, Brian's not so invisible after all. Now, Evans Eagles, I challenge you this month and always to be like Brian and like Justin, to be fair and look out for each other, include each other. And thanks for listening. Bye.